Hello and welcome to September 2024's conference call. I'm David Lee and I got quite a few things to cover this month. The Renters' Rights Bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment. The dual world vision that I see going on at the moment. And the third category that I've labelled is know your steps, know what you're doing in today's market. So let's get started. You may or may not know, but it's been reintroduced not as the Renters Reform Bill, but as the Renters Rights Bill. Now, Labor is going to push this through Parliament. It's a work in process. Things need adjusting from what I can see, but this looks like it's coming down the road, and we need to be aware of it as property investors, the impact that it will have on us. And if you're into buy-to-let, it will affect what you're doing. So if you're not aware, there are going to be no fault evictions. Now, gone are the days where you could give somebody after 6 months, 2 months notice. It will be from day one a rolling contract, and you are not able to just evict the person for no reason. There's got to be reasons like you're going to sell the property or there's rental arrears, but it's more in favour now of the tenant. So that's coming up. So let's just look at for example, the no-fault evictions. I mentioned that the fixed term AST is gone. Now, at the moment, it could be changed. This is a question I had for somebody. Does this mean that the tenant can go in on day one? Now, I could want to visit London with my family, and instead of Airbnb, I could just go and get a rental from day one and put in my notice in 2 months' time that I'm leaving. These are questions that have got to be asked and resolved. There's 12 months before you can reclaim the property. Remember, I said you want to reclaim the property, whether you want to live in it yourself or you want to sell the property. You've got to give 4 months' notice. Reclaim, to sell, or move back into the property. That's what I just mentioned. Rent arrears. Now, this is something. It's gone from 2 months to 3 months with 4 weeks notice. Now, again, this is something that needs to be looked at because there needs to be 3 months arrears before you can go to the court. So the tenants could play the game of just before the 3 months is up and you're about to go to court, that they could make a back payment of some amount, and you're going through this eternal loop of chasing the money. And at the moment, what are the delays going to be with the court system? We don't know. And this is one of the reasons. I just feel as though it's just getting too heavy, too complicated, and I want simplicity. I will talk about that as we go along. So this is what I see at the moment. I see a dual world vision. And I've mentioned this before, and it reminds me of what we've seen before. What we're looking at around us now, all these issues around rentals and renters' rights bills and capital gains tax, that's another one. That could be going up very soon, and that's going to impact a lot of people in the property. So, but what I'm also looking at the bigger picture. So this is the dual world vision that I'm looking at. I suggest if you've got rental properties and you're looking to invest even more, there's different markets in the UK economy. So that's track capital. Let's go on to the next one. I've been going out and I find it very useful now to be attending meetings, at property network meetings. I'm just hearing presentations, speaking to people, and as you know, 50% of the people in the room are newbies, and I'm listening to what they're doing. When people are speaking, I'm assessing the level of complexity to what they're doing. Is there going to be a high learning curve to get started, investment in terms of finances to get involved? Quite often it could be that if you're doing HMO, for example, you've got to learn how that process works. There's a lot of rules and regulations, so you're not going to do it straight away. And people have got ideas. I'm not critical about them, but I just think starting out, we're at level 0, and they're going to do multiple HMOs to get started. They're going to be doing other things that are going to be challenging to get up and running, knowing that you're going to be making mistakes as beginners. The Bank of England, they didn't change interest rates, even though the Fed did drop by 0.5%. Typically, we will follow the Fed in the US, but that didn't happen. We've got this little island called Great Britain. And we are all focused on this little island as if it's the old world. So if I go to these property events, they know what the Bank of England, are they dropping the base rate by 0.5%? No, they didn't. Oh, this renters' rights bill. Yes, they can talk to you. They're very fluent about that. Or capital gains tax increase from, if you watch that video, 24% up to going up to 40%. And the return's getting worse. So everybody cares about what's happening as if the rest of the world doesn't matter. And I've pointed this out. You need to understand whether your strategy can cope if something dramatic happens in the world. Now, there's no guarantees about anything. The world is crazy at the moment. We are run, especially in the Western world, by a lot of psychopaths. And they're everywhere, east, west, whatever, and it's authority rule wherever you go. What will be the consequences if you're highly leveraged with bank debt, if you're getting less and less returns on your properties, in buy-to-let, for example, or whatever strategy you're doing? What's your philosophy? What are you trying to do? And this is why I say the double world vision. Outside, when all else fails, they take us to war. There they go. They want to go and start bombing in Russia, and guess what the response is going to be on the other side? Yeah, it doesn't take long. So no matter what your planning is, no matter what your belief is, it could all come undone because we're on the brink of catastrophe, so that it won't matter about what strategy you adopt, because nuclear fallout will win at the end of the day. So that's the stakes are that high. And this is what I tell you about looking ahead, and why it reminds me of the early 2000s. I was looking at the property market. I was looking at the first bounce of the ball, and they all said property could only ever go up. And now the people are looking around. They're looking at just what's happening now. But you need to see where the second bounce is, and what it could be, and what's going to be in the impact. Entrepreneurs are looking further afield. Look at Elon Musk, for example. He's looking further beyond than just what's happening at the moment. So that's why I'm pointing this out from my own experience, from many, going back decades, how I've seen this. People by instinct, by nature, they like to follow the herd. They like to do like everybody else. You have to have a detached vision of the world. I'm very analytical. I'm looking, I'm observing, I'm putting the pieces together to see what's going to work for me. Where am I going to place my bets? You do the same. What works for me may be not what works for you. But that philosophy has served me well over many years.